Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And today we're finally taking a look at the Transformers Rise of the Beasts. This is Voyager class Optimus Prime. Now, this is the mainline Voyager, um, which internally I believe Hasbro is referring to as core, but most people refer to as just the mainline. Now, this is not to be confused with the Beast Alliance figures, which are really the true kid-friendly figures. Those are the ones that are the weaponizers, beast armor, and battle changers, as well as all the other fun little gimmicks. Now, this figure, as well as Optimus Primal, are very, very hard to find for whatever reason. I actually had to get these from my friend William, one of the news mods at Sabertron, uh, to have them shipped to me from Canada. And it was only slightly cheaper than buying them from Amazon Japan, who now have them available. So my advice to you is if you do not have a friend who has these in their area that can ship them to you, get these off of Amazon Japan because they are going, especially Optimus Primal, for quite a bit on the aftermarket, which we'll get into a little bit more later. Now, I believe this design was based on an early Rise of the Beast design that was updating the Bumblebee movie look with giving it a few new tweaks. Now, the paint deco is not exact. You can see that Prime does come with an ion blaster instead of an arm attachment. As we all know by now, the Studio Series figure has been released, and the Bumblebee, buzzworthy Bumblebee version. I don't know if there's going to be a mainline Studio Series release of the figure. Who can tell? But as you can see, it's actually a really nice figure. There's a lot going on here in terms of structure and stuff, and comes together nicely. Little things that impress me: the fact that on the hitch here, that's where the blaster pegs in, but then the feet make this little notch for the front clip. I will say that I feel that the blaster is a little undersized for the figure, which is generally undersized overall. This is a very small Voyager. I mean, let me just do the hand test, and you can see the vehicle mode fits nicely in the palm of my hand. Other than that, not much more to say. So what we'll do is we can just, let's just get right into the transformation. Remove the blaster from here, put it off to the side. Again, this is a nice little update to the Bumblebee movie version. It even has that little nubbin there at the front, but as I just said, very small and hollow at the bottom. To start the transformation, you want to come into the front and open up these side panels, flip them back, just like so. Oh, and you also might as well, since they're going to get knocked in, fold up these gas tanks and peg them in. I have to say, the instructions are terrible because there are certain steps, like folding these out, that they don't even cover or mention. So I don't know if there was a rush job on these instructions, but yeah. And there's another step, and I'll point out when we get to it, that is a very important step that's not covered at all. So fold those panels back. They will tab into the forearms right there. Now unpeg the wheels, and you want to fold them out ever so slightly. And then what you'll do is you'll, on a double hinge here, fold up the grill, and then fold the wheels in just like so. I thought this grill pegs in somehow, but it actually doesn't, which kinda, when you're handling the robot mode, this does like to flop about a bit. Now you're going to bring the legs down, and they do peg into the forearms, so just grab them just like so. Bring them down just like that. Kind of a soft tab into place right there. And now we're actually going to get to the next step of the transformation, which is the arms. And again, the instructions make no note. They tell you to fold the arms up, fold the fists up. What they don't tell you is that to be able to do this, you actually have to rotate the arms. When you fold them up, they're going to be like this. You actually have to rotate them at the bicep so they're facing forward, and then they collapse upward. Why they don't mention that, I mean, that's an important step. Why they don't mention that, I don't know. So go ahead and bring the arms out to the side, just like that. Now for the smokestacks, they're on a double hinge, so you want to fold them back, and that they will tab. Instead of being tabbed here on the side, this tab is going to come into play, and they'll be tabbed on the back of the arm. At this point, let's lift the arms out of the way a little, give you plenty of room to go ahead and rotate the figure at the torso. Now, keep in mind, there is actually there's waist joint, and you have that torso bit for the rotation. So just be careful, make sure when going to vehicle mode and from robot mode, you have things lined up. Coming down to the feet and legs now, what you want to do is unpeg the trailer hitch here and fold it over. It'll sit flush on the bottom of that foot. Split the legs, and in doing so, you'll fan out the side skirts a little. Now, the nice little bit of transformation here. I'm going to bring the foot down, and as you bring it down, push on the inside to bring the that detail, the grating out. Make sure you get it pushed in all the way. Unfortunately, on mine, part of the ankle hinges are a little loose, so I don't know really if that kind of affects Prime standing every now and then. But as long as you keep the weight balance, at least on mine, it should be fine. To finish things off, we're going to come in here and bring back this panel. And as you're doing that, you're going to flip up the head. And there's a little bit of an automorph here with the chest. So as you bring that panel down and you bring up the chest, it will automatically, in a way, spread the chest window, which is really nice because those are on very thin clips and pegs, and if you try to move them on your own, they will actually have a tendency to pop off. So it's nice that the figure does it for you. But with that being said, there we are. Here's Optimus Prime in its robot mode. Basically all the articulation you could want. Let's bring his blaster in. You have the swivel, the side-to-side pivot at the ankles, forward and back movement. That's, separate from the transformation joint, so that's nice. A little over 90 degrees at the bend at the knee. Swivel at the, the calf. I already showed off the waist articulation. A little over 90-degree bend at the elbow. The wrists are on a ball joint, so you got some rotation there. The head is, I want to say the head's on a ball joint, but it's very limited, at least on mine. So you do get like a little bit of swivel, and then you do have some arm movement here with the shoulder pad, so you can get some rather expressive posing and what have you. Like I said, this is a very interesting Optimus Prime. It's an early take on the figure. It's not what we ended up with in the movie. But it is interesting that the other basic Optimus Primes were either based off of this design or something that was a little more closer to what we saw in Prime, the Beast Hunter subline, which apparently might have been at some point an alternate design for Optimus in the movie, as we're getting more of those designer sketches coming out. But now, but like I said, this is a fun figure. So what we'll do, we'll pause and we'll come back with my final thoughts. Okay, so as I've been saying, this is a fine figure. It's actually very fun to transform. It's fun to handle. Yes, on mine, the ankles are just a touch loose, but I mean, that's something you could fix or may not even have to deal with on your copy. But then that brings me to my big issue. The fact that many of you are having a hard time finding your copy. I don't know what was going on with the distribution of this line, because apparently these figures are, and I also mean the individually packed deluxes, really are only showing up at brick and mortar retail. There are a few online retailers who are selling them, but they're selling them at a little bit of a markup. But guys like Amazon, Big Bad Toy Store, Target.com, Walmart.com really don't have it. Now, Walmart had listings that would pop in, but when you try to add them to your cart, they're telling you they're out of stock. So were they even there to begin with? And Target, time to cake. Okay, let's get our little bottles of Himalayan sea salt here, because take this with a huge grain of salt. I'm hearing reports from people who work at Walmart that excuse me, people who work at Target, that they're pulling the listings of the figures. Now I have seen that happen. I had Air Razor saved in my wish list on the Target app with a notification for when it comes into stock. That figure disappeared overnight. The rumor is that they will not be stocking the Voyagers and the individual deluxes right now. Whatever reason, I don't know. So whatever movie toys they have in stores now, that's it. The plan is that all those figures, the Prime, Primal, Air Razor, Bumblebee, Mirage, Wheeljack, Nightblade, um, whatever's supposed to come, will be released as a Target exclusive, sort of like kid-friendly studio series line. But that will come like closer to the fall, winter, maybe even next year. Yeah. So which means it's going to be that much harder to find these figures. So here's my thing. Great figure, great transformation, a lot of fun. I'm not sure if I can recommend it because for the average purchaser, the average collector, for you to be able to find it, you're going to have to pay a premium. And I don't think that premium is worth it when in a month or so we're going to have the Studio Series figure that's going to be a lot better and a better representation of how Optimus Prime looked on the screen. Keep in mind, these figures were supposed to be out a year ago, and that we would have that buffer between them and the Studio Series. That did not happen. The other thing is, if you even are able to find it at retail, I'm not sure if you should open it because I think as time goes on, these are going to be very collectible and very desirable on the secondary market, even in light of the Studio Series figures, just because of how hard they've been to find. And a lot of people might just want a simpler Optimus Prime figure that's close to the movie design just to fiddle around with. Because remember, we got this Neo G1 look going on that's been happening since the Bumblebee movie. So there is a lot more people interested. So with that being said, if you can find the figure at retail, buy it, but I would hold on to it to see how the pricing goes because I mean the secondary. I mean, I never want to talk about value, but these are in such demand that there is a value to them. And if you can't find them, don't pay. If you don't want to order from like overseas, because even then you're paying a little more, hold off, wait for the Buzzworthy Bumblebee Studio Series Optimus Prime to come. It's roughly the same price. It's a bigger figure, and even though it's a Target exclusive, usually these when it's something like this, they're not that hard to find. So that's about it. Hopefully, I gave you some stuff to think about, something to focus on. But that's it for the review. If you like this review, like, comment, and subscribe. I have a Patreon, www.patreon.com/ChuckDog1999. $1 a month, $12 a year. You guys know the spiel. Again, subscribing to my channel helps with the algorithms. Over 80% of you watching are not subscribed. That really hurts my channel, so please subscribe. Let's get those numbers up. But that's it for the review. For Voyager Class Optimus Prime. We will see you next time.